joining us. Just to provide some balance, Iran does say that its nuclear ambitions are merely peaceful. We have some breaking news coming in. Russian airstrikes have killed one person and wounded two others in Ukraine's southern region of Kherson. Reports suggest that guided bombs hit a residential building, wounding another man who is 34 years old. We will bring you all news updates we can on that ongoing and developing situation there, as we can see the visuals. We move over to the United States for our next story, where US President Donald Trump has weighed in on ending the Israel-Hamas war in Gaza as a new ceasefire push begins more than 20 months after the conflict started. Here's what he had to say.
Progress is being made on Gaza. I think because of this attack that we made, I think we're going to have some very good news.
Opposition politicians, relatives of hostages held in Gaza, and even members of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's ruling coalition are increasing their pressure on him to end the fighting, triggered by Hamas's October the 7th attack. Now, in a related development, US President Donald Trump has come out in support of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, saying that his ongoing trial should be stopped. In a long post on his social media platform, Truth Social, Trump said the charges against Netanyahu are politically motivated and unfair. Trump said he is shocked that Netanyahu is still facing trial, particularly after the Israel-Iran 12-day conflict that he described as one of Israel's greatest moments. He further praised Netanyahu's leadership and called him a warrior who helped fight Iran. Trump criticized the Israeli legal system for continuing what he called a horror show of a trial. Netanyahu has been under investigation since 2020. Netanyahu is accused of accepting tens of thousands of dollars worth of cigars and champagne from a billionaire Hollywood producer in exchange for helping him with business interests. He is also charged with advocating for advantageous regulations for media tycoons in return for positive publicity for himself and his family. Now we move back to Europe. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has signed an agreement with the Council of Europe's human rights bodies to establish a special tribunal. This tribunal will prosecute top Russian officials responsible for the crime of aggression in the invasion of Ukraine. Let's hear what Secretary General of the Council of Europe had to say.
Ukraine and the Council of Europe are signing an agreement to establish the special tribunal for the crime of aggression. Tribunal to judge between victims and aggressors, between impunity and accountability, because without accountability there can be no lasting peace for Ukraine and Europe.
Zelensky urged justice and accountability over Russian crimes of aggression. Let's hear what Zelensky had to say about Putin.
Today's agreement to create the tribunal is just the beginning, and now we must take real steps to make it work. And it will take strong political and legal cooperation to make sure every Russian war criminal faces justice, including Putin.
Meanwhile, US President Trump said he'll speak with Putin as soon as Zelensky wants to end the war. Trump may send more Patriot missiles to Ukraine after meeting with the Ukrainian president at the NATO summit. This marks a historic move, as it would be the first time the Council of Europe has set up such a tribunal. While the location of the tribunal has not yet been determined, the Council of Europe, which includes 46 member states such as Ukraine, Turkey and the United Kingdom, has made it clear that this body will focus on prosecuting senior leaders for their role in the invasion. Russia, expelled from the Council following the special military operation, as it calls it, is not part of this process. Analysts say this tribunal addresses a critical gap, filling in the jurisdictional limits of the International Criminal Court, ensuring accountability for those at the highest levels of leadership. Now let's turn over to South America, where at least 11 people have been killed in a landslide in northwestern Colombia. This comes after heavy rains unleashed the wall of mud and debris on crowded neighborhoods and buried some dozen homes. Rescue workers continue to dig through the rubble and search for survivors in Colombia's second largest city of Medellin and the nearby mountainous town of Bello, where at least 15 people remain missing, as per reports from the region. Authorities in Bello swiftly transformed schools and community centres, even a swimming pool, into shelters that quickly filled with over 1,300 people who lost or couldn't access their homes as a result of flooding. Landslides are common in this verdant area of Colombia, especially during the rainy season from April to November, when downpours loosen the soil. Floodwaters from almost 2 consecutive days of torrential downfall caused streams to overflow yesterday, while most residents were sleeping. The flood surged through cities, carrying tons of debris and sweeping away cars and other personal belongings. Now let's move back to the United States, where President Trump has fiercely criticised Indian origin candidate Zohran Mamdani after his victory in New York City's Democratic mayoral primary. Trump called Mamdani a 100% communist lunatic and blamed the Democrats for taking the party too far left. Trump posted on his Truth Social account that Mamdani, a 33-year-old self-proclaimed democratic socialist, is part of a radical left wing. He insulted Mamdani's appearance and intelligence, saying he looks terrible and has a grating voice and is not very smart. Trump targeted progressive leaders supporting Zohran Mamdani, calling AOC and others dummies, and accusing Senator Chuck Schumer of groveling over him. He referred to Schumer as our great Palestinian senator, crying Chuck. Trump also mocked the Democrats, suggesting they nominate Jasmine Crockett for president and AOC for vice president, calling Crockett low IQ. He warned that with progressives rising, the country is really screwed, and blamed Democrats for their 2024 election loss. This statement came shortly after former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo conceded the race, making Mamdani the likely next mayor of New York City.